Lady Colin Campbell, I really want to address some of these viral videos that the Sussex squad are trying to put out there in regards to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. And I believe they're trying to rewrite history. So this was the one that went all around X the other day. And if we just watch this now, Lady C, it's meant to prove, apparently, that Meghan Markle didn't make Princess Charlotte cry. Because you can see that she's turning around to look at her there. And the claim is that she was doing so in a loving and kind manner. Now, Princess Carparkle wrote on this absolute nonsense has gone viral on TikTok and gotten a write-up on the Daily Express. The creator claims that at her wedding, Meghan is bowing her head in respect to Princess Charlotte. She's actually looking the child up and down, and it's almost disdainful and with contempt. First, an adult is not going to bow their head in respect to a child. There are no curtsies or bowing until the age of 18. Second, Markle didn't respect anyone, much less Charlotte, who she didn't want in her wedding and bullied. So the Sussex squad fantasy that she's showing respect to a 3-year-old is hilarious. So Lady Colin Campbell, can we just clear this up? Because my understanding is that Meghan Markle's treatment of Princess Charlotte leading up to that wedding was incredibly unkind, given the age difference.
Hey there, Royal Watchers. Grab your teacups and settle in, because today I'm diving into a royal drama that's got everyone talking. Did Meghan Markle really humiliate Princess Charlotte during the 2018 royal wedding? Shocking new claims have surfaced, and it might just change everything you thought you knew about this iconic event.
Well, yes, Dan. I mean, I was actually contacted by somebody from Givenchy who was there. So, I mean, I got it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Meghan was playing Peter off against Paul with, I think her name is Ivy Mulrooney. Is her name Ivy, the little girl?
Jessica Mulrooney's daughter, and of course Jessica Mulrooney has since been thrown under the bus, hasn't she?
Yes. Yeah, well, she served her purpose, so why would Meghan be bothering to waste her time on her? No, especially when Jessica Mulrooney had actually at a certain time, she could have done with Meghan's support when that woman, Sasha Exeter, was unfairly abusing Jessica Mulrooney, and Meghan could easily have come to her rescue. But of course, why would she do that? And yeah, I've used you. I'm not going to help you. You need to remember that I now no longer need you. So bugger off, bitch. I mean, that really was the message, and she was evident. I was told that Meghan played Ivy off against Charlotte and Charlotte off against Ivy. And remember, Catherine had just had Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So she had baby brain, according to Meghan, which would have meant that Meghan should have been a little bit nicer to her instead of taking advantage of it. But will a vulture ever resist taking advantage of? But let me rephrase: will a carrion ever resist taking advantage of handy meat? I don't think so. And so she was evidently, I was told, very disparaging of Charlotte, and that this person overheard her saying to Charlotte sort of like, you're not well behaved like Ivy, and you're fat and pudgy, unlike Ivy, who was, I think, about 6 years older than she was. And so she was rarely and reduced the child to tears.
Picture this. a viral video that's sweeping across X and TikTok. It shows Meghan turning toward little Princess Charlotte during the ceremony. Her supporters say it was a gesture filled with love and respect. But then there are those critics, including the ever-so-bold royal insider, Princess Markle. According to them, Meghan's gaze was nothing short of icy, glaring down at Charlotte with what can only be described as contempt. Now, let's rewind to the dress fitting.
And thereafter, that's why the child's dress didn't fit properly, because William and Catherine refused to they terminated the whole deal at that point. And my understanding is that that is one of the incidents that actually sealed Meghan's fate with William and Catherine, because you as a parent will never forgive what you have been told or witnessed was done to your innocent child by an adult. And so I think that's the setting for the whole situation. And I think that it confirmed to William and Catherine what they were dealing with, as it indeed would have confirmed to me. I mean, I had a friend for 35 years who was trying to pull a crowd move, as they'd say in Jamaica, on me, to show herself off in front of people she wanted to impress, and at my expense, which was bad enough. But then she roped in my children. And at that point, I told her I would never speak to her again. And I never did.
Well, of course, because when you bring someone's children into this, of course, it's a completely different level. Now, then we come to the message release, the text message release. This was totally disgraceful. Prince Harry chose to do it in Spare, his autobiography. We have to take his word for it that this is a legitimate text message, that he hasn't left the conversation out. But this is what happened, according to Prince Harry, contemporaneously on the day between Catherine and Meghan. So Catherine messages Meghan and says, Charlotte's dress is too big, too long, too baggy. She cried when she tried it on at home. Meghan replies, right. And I told you the tailor has been standing by since 8 a.m. here at KP, meaning Kensington Palace. Can you take Charlotte to have it altered, as the other mums are doing? Catherine, no, all the dresses need to be remade. Meghan, I'm not sure what else to say. If the dress doesn't fit, then please take Charlotte to see AJ. He's been waiting all day. Catherine replies, fine. And I don't think this was the great, I mean, I don't know what you think, Lady C, but I don't think that this was the great gotcha moment that Prince Harry thinks it was. I think by that point, and in fact, I know by that point, the relationship between Meghan and Catherine had completely broken down. We know, well, I certainly know that, and I know you know too, that was all on Meghan. You know, Meghan's behavior towards Catherine and William by that point had been, I mean, morally incomprehensible, actually. And I would just say it was a firm message from both parties. Lady C, both parties are being firm. It's clear that there's absolutely no love lost between the pair of them. But in fairness to Catherine, she's making the point that this is about Charlotte. She cried when she tried it on at home. And Meghan responds with absolutely no compassion towards that little girl, Lady C.
Lady Colin Campbell, a name synonymous with royal revelations, dropped a major bombshell on Dan Wootton's show. She claims a wedding party insider reached out to her, revealing Meghan allegedly fat-shamed Princess Charlotte, told her she was fat and not well behaved like Ivy. Ouch! The result? Charlotte in tears and Kate, just weeks after having baby Louis, leaving the room in distress. Remember Meghan's interview with Oprah? She claimed it was Kate who made her cry. But with these new reports, could the truth be that Meghan flipped the script to sway the public's view?
No, Charlotte was used as a club to batter William and Catherine with. It's obvious. And you're absolutely right to say that the relationship had broken down by that point. And each of them was entrenching her position. Now, it is easier to make a new dress quickly than cut down a large, intricate old dress. I speak as somebody whose degree is in fashion and who was a Deansley student at the Fashion Institute of Technology and actually was a designer in my late teens.
What have you not done, Lady Colin Campbell? What have you not done? Seriously. Okay, that explains why you always look so perfect. Okay, got that. I didn't know that.
No, didn't you?
No.
Oh, sorry, Dan. Sorry.
No, it's amazing. But I love learning this stuff.
What have I not done? I tell you what I have not done. I have not given birth to two wonderful royal babies. Give me time and I'd be able to come up with it.
But sorry, I interrupted Lady C. Go on.
Well, I'm sorry, I've now forgotten what I was supposed to do.
Well, you were basically saying what Catherine is saying actually would have been quicker. You were saying, actually, even though it sounds like it's more demanding, you're saying from your experience, your personal experience, actually sometimes it's just easier to make a new dress rather than completely having to adjust another.
Because, for instance, the armpit, you can't shrink the armpit. So it's easy, it's quicker, it's easier, so Catherine obviously also, Catherine has worked in the fashion industry, so she actually is sufficiently knowledgeable about the mechanics of fashion, because remember, she's worked in it, not in any heavy duty way, but also as anybody who's familiar with dressmaking and couture very quickly understands all of this. I mean, Meghan, of course, at that stage of her life was very much buying things off hangers, ready to wear. So she might not have understood this. But even if she had understood it, there's no way she would have been going along with it, because Meghan's technique is to be obstructive, and by being obstructive, she's going to dominate the situation. And Catherine, but you're absolutely right, by then the relationship had broken down, because Catherine and William saw Meghan coming a mile off. William saw her first and tipped Catherine the wink. Catherine then saw for herself, and by that point, they were all aware of the fact that, and also they were aware of the fact, this category of individual they were dealing with. And let's not forget that by then, the late Queen would have had all the reports that the Secret Services would have done about Meghan. So by then, the family would have been fully up to speed as to what they were dealing with. The fact that they had or felt they had to go along with the union doesn't alter the fact that they were fully aware of the fact that they were not dealing with Pollyanna. They were dealing rather more likely with Cruella de Vil, but except it wasn't Dalmatians, it was little girls that she was going to be skinning alive. So
insiders even suggest the Queen and Palace security were already in the loop about Meghan's unsettling behaviour before any I do's were exchanged. Charlotte was just a little girl barely
had
3.
already
Regardless of your
degenerated
title,
and was never
Duchess,
gonna revive,
celebrity, or
because
future
they
queen,
knew they were
shaming a
dealing with
child
nasty
is
piece
never
of work.
okay.
Yes, and the problem is, Lady C, that because Catherine is a kind human being and took flowers to Meghan after the bridesmaid dress fitting because she is a kind human being, Meghan, in her narcissistic head, has thought, oh, well, I was totally in the right. I mean, it didn't matter that I made Charlotte cry. Catherine bought me flowers. So it's such a skewed version of events that Meghan Markle presented to Oprah Winfrey, which then obviously ricocheted around the world, because just because you may have been upset, Meghan, doesn't mean for a single second that Catherine wasn't upset. And also, when an adult makes a young child cry, that should surely be the focus of the story, not whether two adult women cried.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, the farcicality of the Sussex Squad to try to make out that Meghan glowering at that poor child in the church as she's about to, at the end of the procession up the aisle, that Meghan glowers at her. Meghan wasn't giving her a look of affection. Meghan was giving her the Charles Manson glare, and the child knew it. And I mean, my understanding is that the child will have nothing. The child is terrified of Meghan, and and subsequent to that, whenever they have been together, one of the adults around has always tried to stand guard and to be a buffer between Charlotte and Meghan. So the Sussex Squad can say anything they want. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's almost like right-wing extremists saying, well, Hitler actually had a point about certain things, and therefore he should be admired for them. I mean, sorry. Some things are just not feasible and plausible.
No, indeed. And the thing is, Lady C, can we just remind everyone, Charlotte was 3 years old. It's just like astonishing. And I think you're right to say Catherine had obviously very recently given birth too. Now, by the way, that is not me saying that Meghan was not stressed before her wedding. Of course, she was significantly stressed. A lot of that stress, Lady C, came from the absolutely abysmal and appalling treatment from her and Prince Harry towards her father, Thomas Markle, which had obviously ratcheted up the tensions to a whole other level. And of course, someone is stressed before their wedding. But I don't think, well, I know that doesn't excuse you treating a 3-year-old like a piece of dirt, let alone the future Queen of England.
According to this source, Meghan allegedly fat-shamed Princess Charlotte during a dress fitting. Yep, you heard that right. She supposedly told the 3-year-old she was fat and not well behaved like Ivy, referring to Jessica Mulroney's daughter, also in the bridal party. The result? Little Charlotte burst into tears. Kate, fresh from giving birth to Prince Louis, was so distressed she left the room.
Well, it certainly doesn't excuse. No adult should mistreat a 3-year-old child under any circumstances. Now, we have weddings at Castle Goring. In fact, we had 2 last week. And, some brides get more stressed than others. But even the brides who get really stressed, unless they're nasty pieces of work, everything is resolved very nicely. And I will say there are some nasty pieces of work, bridezillas that do exist. And Meghan is evidently the ultimate of bridezilla, but she's a bridezilla. Sorry, she's a bridezilla whether she was walking up the aisle or not. And And she, yes, but she had created a lot of the stress that she was embarked upon during the run up to the wedding, because she is the one who informed her father that if he did not dump her brother and sister in preference to her, he would not be allowed to come to the wedding. She said that. I mean, he's confirmed that to both you and me. And she is the one also, according to Samantha and her father, because her father has told me this as well, who he believes she set up Jeff Rayner to do that whole business and entrap him over the his preparations for the wedding, which led to the Mail on Sunday story about and so she was creating the dramas, and she is therefore responsible for adding to her own stress. Yes, of course, it was always going to be stressful, but did she have to create all that stress? Look at all the stress she's created since then.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets even messier. In that explosive Oprah interview, Meghan claimed it was Kate who made her cry. But if these new accounts are to be believed, it might have been the other way around. Some insiders even say the Queen and Palace security were fully briefed about Meghan's behaviour long before the world found out. Now let's be real for a second. Charlotte was just a little girl, titles aside. No child deserves to be shamed by anyone. If these reports are true, it's a side of Meghan Markle the public has rarely seen. So was this the real beginning of the royal rift?
And isn't that the fundamental point, Lady C, when we actually wrap all of this up? Like, we are not giving you the benefit of the doubt, because Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has no track record of falling out with someone. She caused absolutely no dramas at any family wedding. For example, the wedding of Pippa Middleton, her sister, where Gary Goldsmith, her uncle, told me that Catherine was an absolute delight at that wedding. The idea that this is an issue with Catherine is for the birds, given the one person who falls out with everyone through every part of her life is Meghan. So I'm sorry, sometimes you can actually look at something on the whole and think, well, no, there's one type of track record of behavior from you. There's another type of track record of behavior from you. And as a result, we're able to make our judgments much easier.
Oh, absolutely, Dan. And may I say as well that even if Catherine had been tetchy, the fact of the matter is it was her 3-year-old daughter that she was protecting. And that and there's never been any accusation that indeed Catherine was the instigator of any of this. Meghan has never actually accused Catherine of instigating any of this. Meghan's been very vague about what role Catherine was supposed to have played in it, but she's never accused Catherine of instigating any of it or of Catherine being monstrous to her. But Givenchy told me that Meghan was monstrous to Charlotte, and therefore Meghan, no matter how it's spun, Meghan has no excuse. No woman batting 40 has the right to be mistreating a 3-year-old child and making the child cry. I mean, 3-year-olds can get upset and cry, and what do you do if you're a decent person? You comfort them. You don't use Ivy Mulroney against them as a club with which to batter them. You just don't do it. There is no way that this can be spun that is anything but appalling behavior on Meghan Markle's behalf. And I'm sorry, there's also no way that even the idiots who consist of the Sussex squad could actually be able to justify Meghan's behavior. It's The whole thing is yet another study in stupidity and insanity.
So, are these the true origins of the royal rift? Or merely another fracture in the fairy tale we all love to dissect? Now, it's your turn. What do you think of these new claims? Let me know in the comments below. If you're craving more juicy, unfiltered, royal gossip and behind-the-scenes truths, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious.